Millions of Americans are rushed to the hospital every year. 400,000 of them transported by emergency helicopter. Many times it's a life or death flight where every second counts. But the service often comes with a sky-high price tag. Tonight, ABC's chief investigative correspondent Brian Ross examines the big business of air ambulances.
You're talking about very critically injured patients, traumas, strokes, heart attacks.
Emergency workers call it the golden hour, the crucial 60 minutes to get medical care for a patient facing death.
Failure to get them to the care probably means that they aren't going to survive.
That urgent need to beat the golden hour clock has spawned a nationwide fleet of helicopter ambulances, saving countless lives. But our Nightline investigation, conducted with ABC stations across the country, also found it has left many of the very people it saved facing financial turmoil, with bills as high as $40,000 or $50,000 for a short flight.
Would you call this price gouging?
Well, some of it is. There's no question that some of it is.
Warren Larson of Owensboro, Kentucky, a helicopter pilot himself, says he was stunned at the cost of the quick flight for his daughter after she was injured in a serious off-road ATV accident. $47,000 for 79 miles. After insurance and a failed negotiation, he still owes $36,000.
It's definitely going to cripple us financially.
He is not alone. With our ABC teams across the country, we found hundreds of families.
I'm worried to death about it. It's very stressful worrying about it.
Being sued.
I don't have the money to give them, so my wife and my son and myself don't want to be homeless.
Or hounded by debt collectors.
I look, I see the number, I'm like, I know who it is, I don't even want to talk to them.
Over huge bills their insurance won't fully cover.
I feel like I can never dig out.
Some forced into bankruptcy. One after another, patients told us how they felt they had been taken for a ride in more ways than one.
I wasn't asked if I wanted to go on the helicopter. I didn't think I was hurt that bad.
91-year-old Warren Lowe and his wife Ethel were on their way to church in Virginia when an uninsured driver slammed into their minivan.
911, where's your emergency?
Car wreck here on 89. Several people hurt.
Lowe's leg was shattered, and doctors at his local hospital wanted him sent to a trauma center 55 miles away.
Didn't nobody tell me nothing. They just took me and put me in the helicopter and gone.
The cost, $47,000 for a 20-minute helicopter ride.
I couldn't believe it when I looked at it. $47,000, that's ridiculous.
Jean Medina got a $35,000 bill from Air Methods after her teenage daughter, Sophia, on a family vacation, developed complications from a tonsillectomy.
The surgery itself was a total of $16,000, and the helicopters nearly $35,000. It just seems a crazy amount of money.
After insurance and a protracted back and forth, she still owes $17,000. And Medina questions whether her daughter's 37-mile medevac trip was even necessary. It took almost an hour for the helicopter to just arrive and load, and she was able to drive the distance in almost the same amount of time.
I left a few minutes before they took off and ended up arriving at the hospital about 5 minutes after they did.
The decision to call in a helicopter ambulance is made by attending doctors. But the families, like the Larsons of Kentucky, are the ones on the hook for the cost. Warren Larson says he was being treated himself, given morphine, when he signed this Air Methods consent form for his daughter's medevac trip, which in small print made him personally and fully responsible for the bill.
They said, don't worry about it, it's just a standard form, just to give us permission to transport your daughter.
Nowhere on the standard form does it inform the patient or guardian of the expected cost. State insurance regulators say they have been unable to rein in the prices or tactics of Air Methods and other helicopter ambulance services because of a loophole in the federal law. Al Redmer is the insurance commissioner in Maryland.
When the federal government deregulated the airlines industry, these commercial helicopter companies were part of that.
As if they're a major air carrier.
That's exactly right.
So you can't regulate them because of the FAA rules.
That's exactly right.
They can get away with these charges. They can charge, as you say, whatever they want.
They can. They can.
For Nightline, this is Brian Ross, ABC News, New York.